This is a brief introduction for the game Attitude. It was developed as a recreation therapy intervention to introduce and process different aspects of attitude. The game works well as a pleasant and enriching activity. People often look at interventions that recreation therapists do and don't see the therapeutic process behind it. This is a game that a recreation therapist will use to accomplish therapeutic goals and objectives. All the elements of this game can also be used separately and as themes for other topics of discussion or therapeutic interventions. The elements of this game can also serve as a curriculum of coping skills. Here's a list of wonderful coping skills to help someone to improve their resiliency. A therapist could keep a file on all the topics in this game and build a menu of therapeutic interventions. Throughout this game, participants are introduced to concepts found in cognitive behavioral therapy. Being aware of our thoughts and actions and identifying more constructive alternatives can only help. So let's go on with the game. Now, whether you use this game with your family, co-workers, or clients, you'll find ways to adapt it to meet your needs. Actually, the game adapts itself because it changes with each person who plays it. Here's the game board with lots of pleasant looking spaces, which is appealing. The elements of playing a board game helps make this game on these topics a little less threatening. Your facilitation of the game is the #1 factor in making this beneficial for the participants. As a facilitator, I typically introduce the game with soliciting comments about what attitude is all about, what's an example of good attitude and bad attitude, those kinds of things. And if it is a therapeutic activity to meet therapeutic goals and objectives, the client may need more of an explanation of why this activity is meeting their treatment goals. I don't typically go over all the rules, but just play the game and play the spaces as they come. So here's the instruction sheet here. It's a two-sided copy here. One side explains some of the therapeutic concepts, and the other side really guides participants through the different spaces. Okay, so here are the instructions. I'll set these over to the side. Now here are the cards that correspond with some of the game spaces. A big one here is choices. It's got lots of different situations on here that people will be able to express different ways and choices to respond. Another one is personal positive or negative. We'll set this one right here. Another is goals. Big part of one's attitude is understanding goals. And a real central issue with attitude is beliefs. So these are the cards that come with different written situations or text corresponding to each some of these spaces. Now, players can have separate game tokens, but I found that a single token used by all to go around the board works well. We're kind of all in this together. So I'm going to use this little blue kitty cat here as our game token. When it's one person's turn, oftentimes they'll answer the particular situation or respond to the space. But in reality, everybody thinks about what's going on with that particular question and how they would respond. And oftentimes, with a particular space, the group is solicited for further discussion on a particular space. So let's go through some of these spaces. Now, I like to use a dice, just one die, and this happens to be a nice big one, which is good, 6-sided die. And let's just roll the die here and let's see what we got here. We rolled a 6. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. And we land on listen. Now we can't land on listen first because that's something that you have to respond to what the last person said. Well, come to think of it, I was the last person to speak. So the question here is, repeat in your own words what the previous player said, and then comment. That gets into opportunities for active listening and understanding what listening is all about. Let's go on to the next, and I'll just kind of roll through these pretty quick. Feelings. Roll the die again, and depending on what you roll the die, you would respond to a particular feeling. So say that we rolled a 5, the feeling is, well, your choice. You would come up with a feeling and then tell what you were doing or thinking once you had that feeling. Thank you.